Hi everyone, welcome back to Dyanne and my channel. My name is Janny and of course Dyanne and I'm so happy you are here. We have some new DIYs for you. We hope you enjoy a little bit of fun, a little bit of chaos, and our DIYs are always very easy to make. So if you like this content, I hope you will consider subscribing to Dyanne and my channel. And for now, let's jump into our first DIY. So here we'll see what I will use for this DIY, and of course for a sign you need some canvas. For at least I use this canvas 25 by 25, and of course you can use any sign you want. Of course I use some ribbon, the blue and white and the red and white, and of course some paint I made myself, because the red is a little bit lighter and the blue is a little bit brighter, and I want a little bit more of the rustic blue and red colors. And of course I use my favorite, my beeswax, and of course we need some painter's tape. We will also use that. So we are going to start with painting our sign. So you see here the two canvases, and of course I did try to say we're going to paint our canvas, but what we're going to do before we're going to paint is just I use this painter's tape, and I will do the sides. I will do some painter's tape on it because I want to leave this white, so I can later on I can do some beeswax on it, so it gives a little bit of a side of a wooden sign. So first we're going to do is just do some tape on here, and just do all 4 pieces, and also from this canvas. So I'm going to do that first, and then we are going to paint it. So now we did both canvases. We did some painter's tape on it, and of course later on we can remove it, but we get better stripes. So just make sure that the paint is not going under your canvas, because that would be that would be not a great thing. So I'm going to make first one. I will make blue. Of course I show you just a little piece, so you don't have to look all the time how I'm going to paint my canvas, because I think that will be very boring. See me paint, but you see already a little bit of what I mean by painting the canvas. So I will paint this and then I will be back. So you see I painted both of the canvases, and one white and one blue, and I love the darker blue, because if you see it in the little jar, it looks a little bit lighter, and I was a little bit afraid that it wouldn't be too dark, but when it dried up it looks so nice. So what we're going to do right now is just remove the tape, and then we hoping that the lines are straight. And of course I hope I show it to you on camera, or else I am doing something and you won't even see it. So I'll just move this one, the last one, and you see how cheap this is. Just an ordinary canvas you buy on Dollar Tree or anywhere, Dollarama or something else. At least this one were 2 for I think a package of 3 for I think €1.20. So it's a little bit same like a dollar, so very cheap. And you already see how nice of a base you already are getting from only getting it off with some tape. And of course this one will be a little bit more easier, because this one has the white color, so it's a little bit, you see already, even this one is turned out great. What I'm going to do right now is just get my furniture wax, and what I'm going to do is just wax the sides, so it will give us a little idea of that it will be from wood. So I'm showing you a little piece, because or else, like I always say, it takes much too long for you. So I'm going to do it very carefully beside the lines, and you see already how much this will change. And if I have this, the furniture wax on it, on the sides, on the edges, I think you call it, then you will see I have already a great base for my sign. And then we are going to work on the middle of our signs, but I leave that a little bit of a surprise. So I'm going to do the base first, and then we are going to do the next step. So you see here, this is how they turned out, and I really love the sides. It really gives a little of the wood feeling. What I did, I just did one layer, and every time I did some pieces, I did a little bigger layer, or a second or a third, and then you get a little bit more of the wood feeling for that it looks a little bit more like wood. So, but this is a white one, and this a blue one, and you see here I made my blue color from cobalt blue and of course a little bit of black paint. But what I didn't realize is when this chalk paint is dried up, it will dry up a little bit darker than you see already, because this is really blue, but you see this one is, it is blue of course, but it also, if in a certain light, it looks a little bit black, but it is dark blue. So we have to work with it. I don't know if I really love the dark blue, so that's for me is not an issue. But because if you like a little bit a lighter blue, so always make sure that your chalk paint most of the time is dried up a little bit darker than it should be. So if you are going to mix certain paints, just make sure that you don't make it too dark, because or else, and just try it on a piece and look how it is when it dries up, because this one certainly did dry a lot darker than I expected. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to, you see here already, I have my old box from my milk, and I've used this cardboard for making my sign. And of course pieces of this one I will use, and I made on my computer already. A lot of you who already follow me for long, I have a program I really love, that I'm making always my own signs and pictures and that kind of thing. So for this I just took this one. I probably will do it on the darker wood, of the darker color. I will use this one, and I use this head, and of course I don't going to stick it on top of here. I will make it my own. So I'm going to just use this as silhouette. So I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to do it on a piece of cardboard. I just draw it out, and then we are going to color it with our own paint. So everything is fitting with the color I have here, because you see already this wouldn't fit because the blue is different than my blue. So and I am really someone who really really doesn't like that, so I'm sorry, that's just something for me. So I'm going to use the silhouette, and I'm going to paint everything in the color that I like, and I use this little sign for under here. So we're going to cut it first. So you see already I cut for this sign, I cut my head out, and you see already here is the silhouette. I did a couple of stars also in cardboard. I did my little text in cardboard. And what I'm going to do right now is just paint it in my colors. So of course I'm going to paint this one in my colors. I'm going to glue this on top of it, and then I'm going to paint it over, because then I know exactly where I have to be, because I'm not a great person to paint with out of hand with some pictures. So I'm going to Mod Podge it on top of it, and then I'm going to over it to paint it in my colors. So that's what we're going to do right now. So you see I'm ready to paint my head. I just did Mod Podge it on top of it. I didn't do a second coat because I still want to paint it. I need a little bit of the darker color. At least I hope it dries up a little bit darker. So what we're going to do first is just paint the red pieces a little bit the way the head is. Of course you can work a little bit with it in your way. And don't mind the sides, because the sides I'm going to distress it a little bit with some furniture wax, because I want to have it a little bit more on the rustic side, just make a little bit the sides a little bit more old. So I'm going to paint this in totally, and then I'm going to show you how he is turning out. So you see here I painted my head, my stars and my sign. I did just some little touches with a little pencil, just some touches of the darker red, because or else it wouldn't blend in. So I really love and the dark blue and the coloring, I really love it. So I let this dry for a moment, and then we are going to finish off our first sign. So you see I did a little change of plans. You saw already I had the stars totally white, but I really thought they were not fitting with everything else. So I just did some little pieces at the edges, a little bit of the red and a little bit of the blue, so everything blends in a little bit more. So now we're going to let it dry like I said, but I just want to show you how easy it is. Just do the sides, a little piece of, and I'm just doing something. This is not a great painter at work, because I'm really such a bad painter. So just do some pieces on the edges, and it just, you will see when we are finished off our sign, you will see it blends in a little bit better. So but we're going to let it dry right now. So you see they are almost dried up, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to find a place where I want to have my head and my little sign, and of course my stars. I have 4 stars, but I don't know if I can use all of them. You see, I will show it a little bit more this way for you. So I want to, this is a little bit my idea, just to do one over here and one over here. And I just don't want it straight. So this is a little bit because if you do 4 of them, it will, for me, it will be a little bit too much. But of course, if you like it, just go ahead. But this is a little bit the way I love it, and I'm really happy, and especially because it gives a little bit more of the rustic feeling. And maybe if no and maybe when I glued everything on top of my sign, I will do maybe at the edges a little piece of a little bit of the antique wax to give it a little bit more, still more a little bit of the rustic feeling, just at the sides over here, and a little bit at the sides at the my little stars. But I have to see about that. But first we're going to glue it, but this time I'm going to try to glue it with some Mod Podge. I never did this before, but I'm going to try if this will work or not. There are a lot of people already do it this way. Dyanne is also sometimes gluing it with some Mod Podge. So I'm really curious if this will work or not. Probably it will, but we will see. But normally you also do some pictures on your sign, so you should say it has to work. So I'm going to lay it on here and just keep it a little moment in place, and then we hope it really it really sticks this way. So like I said, for me this is the first time doing it with some Mod Podge, so I really am hoping that it will look okay, and especially that it will stay this way, because when you are painting board cardboard, it's most of the time it goes a little bit it doesn't stay straight, so most of the time it just works a little bit. So I hope this one will stay also in place, and it looks like it does, and I'm really happy with that. So what I'm going to do right now is just gluing my head, and this will be because I really want to have it on the right place. And I am really loving that it's a little bit more of the darker red colors, because I love rustic. But if you love a little bit more of the modern farmhouse, I think you love a little bit more the white. So of course, just go ahead, just do whatever you think is fitting for your Decor. So I just keep it in place for a moment so it can dry a little bit. And I know this is not a great sight for you to see. Maybe I will cut it out, but it's really a strange and boring a boring moment for you just to see me holding my hand on a head. So I'm sorry for that. Maybe I should have done it out of camera, but or else you wouldn't see how I will get it on my sign. So I really love also showing you. So you see, he's already, it really sticks great, if I can say so. And I think I will do it a little bit more because this works a little bit better. My glue is always, everything is going, before it dries, it goes on my sign. So now I have to do only the stars. So, and they are very easy also to glue. So, but I'll do that out of camera and then you will see the result. So you see how he is looking like with everything on it. And what I'm going to do, I just took a little piece of a little bit on my brush with some antique wax, and I'm just going to around the edges, not a lot because I don't want to have it a lot of it, but just little pieces, and just dab it a little bit off and just do a little bit at the sides so it gives a little bit more of a rustic feeling. And also do it with the stars, just a little bit at the edges, so it gives a little bit more feeling that you have an old. You see, I will finish this off and then I show you the end result of this sign, and then we are going further with our second sign. So you see, this is how he is turned out, and I think I'm very happy with it. But like I said earlier in the video, just do whatever what's fitting for you. If you like more a little bit of the brighter red or a little bit of the brighter blue, just do whatever you think. But you see already, with a simple and easy and cheap canvas and a little bit of old cardboard you have laying around in your home, you can still make a nice little sign, and you don't have to pay 20 or 15 or I don't know how the costs are. Most of the time they are very expensive, so just make one of your own, and at least it will be a unique piece. So that's always the greatest thing of making it yourself, that you have a unique piece. So we're going to start now with our second sign. So you see already also this second sign is having a nice wooden frame. At least it looks like a wooden frame. We need a picture from on top of here. This one we will probably will do also on cardboard and Mod Podge it. But first we have to make our own sign, because I always want to give it a little unique touch from my own on a picture. So come along with me to my computer and then I show you my program magic.com. So here you see the prints we just made on my computer. I have of course the red truck with a little sign, and also the little rounds I just printed out of extra, because from these pieces I'm going to make a banner on top of our sign. And of course with the red truck it will look great with the creamy white color. So we are going to cut out first our little truck, and then we are going to Mod Podge it on top of a piece of cardboard. And also the cardboard we are just cutting out, and then it will give a little more of dimension. So let's do that first. So you see, I have a little bit extra light because it was so dark outside here in the Netherlands. So I had to bring on a little bit extra light. I'm sorry for that, because I always love the daylight, because then you can see it also a little bit nicer, but I have to do it. So I took out my, I cut out my little truck, and also with the truck I laid it on top of a piece of cardboard, and already in the a bit of the rough way I just cut out the cardboard, so I already have a little silhouette of how it can be. What I'm going to do right now is just Mod Podge it on top of this piece of cardboard, and then I'm going to cut out a little bit better my truck. But then now I can move it a little bit better, because the cardboard is a little bit thick, and then you with a scissor is always a little bit difficult just to do the sides already. So I'm going to Mod Podge it on top of my little piece of cardboard, and of course I just do the Mod Podge this way. There are, like I always say, there are so many ways you can do your Mod Podge. One day it works better to make it a little bit wet. The other day it works better with I don't know, but sometimes I don't know with Mod Podge with you. So there you're back, you're back already. The last piece didn't go as well, so I have to put on a little bit of music on it. You see here I did some Mod Podge on top of it, and now it has to dry for a moment, and then we're going to, you see here already the red is, the ink is a little bit running out. So, but we are going to cut it out and just make it a nice piece. So, but I still need to dry. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is just take a piece of cardboard also, and we are going to use our rounds for making a banner, and the banner is also making all the little rounds on a piece of cardboard. So I'm going to cut this one also out, and then we are going to Mod Podge it also on top of the cardboard. So you see I just cut all the little pieces out, and now I just need a little bit of the scrap pieces of my cardboard, and I'm just going to Mod Podge it on top of it. So then I will cut it out, but it is a little bit more handy if I just use also the scrap pieces then because they are a little bit smaller and they are easy to work with your scissor, like I said earlier, also with my truck. So I'm going to Mod Podge this on top of it, and then I will cut them out, and then I show you. So you see I did cut everything out and place it on the cardboard, just Mod Podged the little pieces and also cutting them better out. And now you see already a little bit which way it will probably go, and I will make a little banner out of this. So one over here, and one over here. So I'm going to place a little piece of twine on my little board, of course, and then we are going to place this one under it, and of course we are going to give our truck a little place. But first I'm going to make my banner so I can hang it above. So you see, this is what I have so far. I did with Mod Podge, I also glued my truck on top of it. I made my banner, but the only thing, I already did glue this one, but he's a little bit too high, so I have to work with it the way it is. So, but be sure that you measure it out right. But I'm missing still something, so I'm going to do something with some stars. So I'm also doing some stars over here, so I also will make that with cardboard and just a piece of a star. I will Mod Podge it the way like we did our truck and our banner, and then we are going to look for how this will look like on top of here. So you see I did some little stars and I still have to glue them, but you see already how different it already looks only with a couple of red stars. What I'm going to do with the red stars, of course, the edges I going to do with a little bit of the darker blue paint before I glue them on top of my sign, of course. And I just figuring out if I like this on top of my banner or not. We will see. But of course the edges, this has to dry, and the edges I will make a little bit dark blue so it's fitting a little bit more with each other. And then I think he's already a long way. I thought maybe I show you just a little piece for everyone who loves to see it. You see, I just do a little bit of the blue on the sides of the star. There is no particular way I do it, just what is giving you a great feeling, because it just, yeah, it's not distressing, but just give it a little bit more dimension on your star, and he will fit a little bit better inside of our sign. So I just wanted to show you, just do a little piece with a little smaller brush, and you already make your own sides. So we're going to place our little stars on our sign, and of course this time I also do it with some Mod Podge, because this works great. So we're going to do one over here and just work a little bit over it, over the twine, so I can work away a little bit more that the twine is not totally straight, because if you, I hope you have you have it straight, but mine was not really straight, because I should have done the rope before I did my little rounds. But of course you learn every time and again, so this time I am just trying to get it a little bit away, but he is not gluing the greatest. You see already, also over here nothing is going to be perfect, and I show you also the things which are not perfect, because then you can see that everyone has mistakes in their DIYs and in their crafts, just by what you call it. But I really find it important that everyone knows that a DIY is not always going right, and you have to learn from every time you are making a new DIY. And I'm learning time and time again, and I'm also learning a lot from other YouTube friends, because everyone makes such a beautiful decor, so you can learn from each other. So I'm going to glue the stars, and then I will be back with you with the end result. So you see how he is turned out right now, but I'm still missing a little bit inside of the truck, because I always have a feeling there has to be something in the truck. So I think I probably will do 2 little pieces of garland, and I just will glue this together and just work away inside of here, so it will be a little bit inside the car, the truck, of course, and just do a little couple of red, white and blue berries on top of it. So we will see if this looks okay or not. So you see how my 2 signs turned out, and everyone who is looking okay, you can see I already did some extra, because I did some twine around the head and around the truck, because I'm always going for a little bit of the farmhouse rustic touch, and I was missing something, so I did some twine around it, and now I think they are really finished. And you see how easy it was, and on a budget, because you don't need almost nothing. And in a moment you still see 2 other signs from Dyanne, because she is making 2 signs also, but also from some cardboard plates. So I hope you enjoy that also, and you see, I hope you are inspired and make some of your own.
I was starting this DIY with 2 paper plates, beeswax, and a brush. I took out these paper cups to help me because I'm going to first paint the edges of the front side of the plate with beeswax. I'm going to turn the thing over and I want to paint the back, but also on the front part to dry. So then I will be able to paint it this way. Okay, I'm first going to the front side, then I'll be doing the back afterwards. Now, if you're going to use this, I've said it before many times, ventilate your room really well, because beeswax, and all other stains at least, in our country smells super heavy. And yeah, don't want to breathe that in all the time. So open up a window, or a door maybe, so you can ventilate that strong smell out of the air. Now I'm going to do this painting all the way around with beeswax. Just like this. Some parts are getting a little bit darker, that's because there is a little more of the beeswax upon that place. You can easily wipe that off with a brush. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, I'm almost done painting the front side. Just some stains here and there. And then the front is ready to dry. And I'll need to carefully flip this thing over and put it upon the paper can. Just like so, and now I'm ready to paint the back part of the paper plate. And I'm done painting the back. Now this thing can dry. And that has to happen for quite a long time, so I'm just picking up the can here on the bottom side. And yeah, I think I'm going to put it here. So it can dry. Now it's time for me to paint the other one. These are both of the plates. They're completely dry now, and I can start decorating them. What I want to do, I want to make 2 different prints. And therefore I'm going to measure how long this is, because I want to print a design in a circle. Okay, welcome to Photoshop. I will now show you very quick what I'm about to do. First, let me check. I have... Yes, this is the image of the gnome that I want to use. And I found this circle here on the internet, but it is still black and I want to paint it. So here I'm going to pick the color, I think blue here. Fill the circle up with... Oh, selected the wrong layer. Of course, select the background. Fill it up with that color, and now I'm going to pick the red one, select the background, and then fill up the background part. Now this can be lifted away, and then I think this is how it's going to look. I have this color, but I want to flip everything over to the other color, so I'm just undoing what I just did in the first place. Now I have the red color still under the mouse, under the button, so I'm going to fill up the round with the stars, and I'm going to pick the blue color again, select the background, and then use the bucket to fill it up in this way. So away with the gnome, and this will be the background print for the other plate. The prints are done. Sorry, my printer is making really bad noises in the background. Time to cut it out, and then I'll be using this cheaper glue, not the Mod Podge, to put it upon the paper plate. Time to do the second one, and after that I'll be gluing them to the plates. Both paper surfaces are printed out. Now it is time to glue, or actually to put glue upon the plate. I'll be using this cheap glue, not Mod Podge, only the, oh, there are bubbles. The cheaper one, because the cheap one costs €1. And the Mod Podge costs us €15 for each package. So yeah, I actually want to save that for doing sealing, because sealing is not a good idea with this cheaper glue. And I'm going to tell you why, because your ink of your design is totally ruined after you put the cheap glue on as a sealer. Okay, here we go. Okay, this must be the center. Carefully, don't press too hard. I have an extra brush here. Let me zoom in. Hopefully you can see it better if I do it then. You see some air bubbles. I'm going to use the brush. Can easily take the air bubbles away without damaging my design of my project. Look, here's a big one. Hope you can see it. And now it's gone. So that is a tip for you if you have air bubbles underneath your paper. I'm just using a dry brush. Gently brush your design. Brush from the inside towards the outside corners. And then your air bubbles will disappear very easy. Okay, now it's time to let it dry. Do the second one. Time for the second one. It's going to look so cute. They have the same background, but they're going to be slightly different. Now they both have to dry for half an hour at least. Okay, time to give the gnome a new design. The first thing what I did was remove the cute little bows in her hair because I want to replace them with something else. Actually, the only thing I did was, just colored in the red parts with some gray paint from her hair, the same color. Then you get this. Here you can see the tiny edges of the bows a little bit. The image wasn't coming with the round here with the circle. That's another image. But the gnome was also free printable. And I put the circle around here so I know what kind of scale the gnome needs to have. Okay, let's go to the next steps. I cut off, you can see it here, the tails of the bows here a little bit more so her hair has a more natural shape. And then it's time for me to select the flag because I want to give that my own design. I'm going to select the whole flag and going to turn it into a complete white square. I'm going to write Happy 4th of July there in this cute font. And then the only thing I want to do is decorate her hair. Where the tails were, I want to have flowers inside of her hair. So I looked up and found this free image of a flower online. I'm going to cut out the background, place it into the right part of the image, make it a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to color it in, copy the same layer, and use the same flower on the other side of her tail. And that is how my gnome is going to look. While the plates are drying in the background, I took out a piece of cardboard for myself and I printed out my gnome. So first going to cut my design out, just roughly, not too secure or not too precise actually. Just roughly, because we're going to cut out the design later, not yet. First I want to glue the whole thing upon the cardboard because that is what I need for my 3D effect. I did that before with another sign in a past DIY video, and that was such a cool thing. And I want to have the design again for this DIY. Just like this. Use that for later print. What I'm going to do, just going to, oh, no, just, does it fit in that part? Then we'll be using this part. Let me see, this is my glue brush. I'm going to glue the cardboard, not the design, because this is a cheap glue. I don't want to ruin the design. I think this is more than enough. Just brush it out. I think it is more than enough. Now it has a really thick layer. At this point, I don't know on which background color I'm going to glue this, but we'll see that later. Put the print upon the glue part. Oh, there's not enough glue on that side. Still needs to be a little bit longer, I see. Well, then I hope this will do. Just doing something. Luckily I'm using cheap glue. Not spilling too much of the Mod Podge. Gently wipe. Don't press too hard. Wipe the air bubbles away and then let it dry. Let it dry really, really well before we can start cutting it out. The glue needs to be very dry. In the past I made the mistake of putting this upon the heater. Don't do that. It's going to curl up, it's going to be ugly, and you're going to ruin your design. So, just going to leave it this way. I think I'm going to have dinner in between or something. Or maybe doing another task at home. No, for now, let it dry really well. Mod Podges dry a little bit quicker than this stuff, but hey, I have the time today, so it's not a big deal for me. The gnome is dry. I have a knife here, time to cut out this design. And yeah, actually I didn't really took a notice about what kind of design I was printing out, so it's going to be a hard one, I suppose. With all the round edges of the hair, that will be a challenge for me. The hat is doable, I think. Yeah, you just have to cut smart with this. But then you get a really nice 3D effect if the cutting out works just as the way I have it in mind. Be careful with the flag. Because that is a white on white surface. I'm done with crafting the gnome. Now it is time to glue that upon the plate. I decided I wanted to use the blue one. Actually now the beeswax is on there a little longer. A little bit disappointed in how the inner circle is covered in wax, so I'm going to do that later again. First I want to make a 3D effect. I'm not only wanting to glue the gnome upon there, I think I also have some small cardboard pieces that it would be nice to have it laying up there. So first I want to glue some small pieces. I'm using the cheap glue, by the way. Some small pieces of cardboard. I'm going to glue that underneath. There's another one. And when that is done, I'm going to put it upon the plate. Oh, there's some sort of air bubble underneath, because yeah, there is the glue. Okay. Now put some more glue here on the little squares. Just like so. I'll check the plate. And let's see. Stand up because I want to have it really aligned in the center. I think it is here. A little bit more to the side, I suppose. So this will be it. I just start using Mod Podge to seal the design in, and therefore I just use a brush that is cleaned, because I also use it for the cheap glue. Now, give everything a nice thick layer. And I'm also going to seal in the paper upon the plate itself. For the one who doesn't know Mod Podge, it now has a white finish, but that will be transparent within, I think, about half an hour. And this is the matte edition, so it dries up matte. Now I'm going to do this part here, so everything is nicely sealed in, and yeah, it won't bring any harm anymore to the design. Okay, time for the second sign to make. I already selected here the background, so that is already in place. I wanted to have a few flags upon this second design. So what you see here is, you know, just a coloring plate. And I want to actually erase the edges around, so we only have the flag in the center. Now I have a print that was also online. The text is online, and I took out the flag, made it a little bit smaller, and now I'm going to color it in. All the stars as well. Give the flag its colors, then copy the layer of the flag, and you know, just flip it horizontally, align it in place, and this is the design for the second layer, sign, sorry. I'm going to print the flags one time extra, and yeah, I'm going to put them upon cardboard. The only thing I did was cutting out the red part here, because I forgot to print the letters on the previous part, and I Mod Podged it upon the plate together with, you know, the brushing away the air bubbles. Now it is time to cut out the design of the flags, and yeah, I'm doing it roughly again because I want to have it on cardboard. The same way as I did with the gnome on the other side. I think this one is going to be even harder to cut out because the sticks of the flags are super thin, and yeah, I hope it's going to be alright. So first putting some Mod Podge upon the cardboard plate. No, that one is damaged. Need this side. Here is okay. Oh, that was a little bit too much. Just wipe it down, have a nice thick layer, and then put your print upon it. I'm not going to glue the print or put Mod Podge upon the print because then it gets wobbly and weird. And doing it this way, well, I think then your craft ends up better than when you glue your print and then stick it upon the cardboard. So here we go. Now I'm going to let it dry for I think half an hour, and then it's time to cut out the whole design the same way as I did with the gnome. So just use a knife and cut out here alongside the lines. When it's dry, it's time to cut it out. You know how it goes. Just use your knife for the big parts, for the rough parts. For the small parts, we have a pair of scissors. And yeah, I made it myself quite difficult today with, as you can see here, the round knobs on top of the flags, but I'll manage, I hope. We'll see at the end. I'll be back to you soon. Just as I did with the gnome, I also wanted to glue really small tiny blocks of cardboard here behind the flags so they lift a little bit more from the plate itself. They're now ready to glue to the plate itself. Just apply some Mod Podge upon the tiny blocks on the edge, on the other side on the backhand of the print, and then gently push it upon the plate and let it dry for half an hour. And in the next shot you will see what the final result is. Here it is. I only have to seal the design. Here they are both together. I might notice it. I put some extra beeswax here on the inner circle of both of the plates. And I'm now going to show you close up. I really had fun making this. Let us know in the comment section what you think of this DIY. At least I had fun trying to make something new.
So these were already our new DIYs. We hope you just had fun and take a little bit of inspiration with you. Dyanne and I are always so thankful that you take a little piece of your day to watch a little bit of our video. So thank you all for that. And of course, if you like this content and you like I always say, a little bit of chaos, we hope you will consider subscribing to Dyanne and my channel. We wish you all a beautiful, beautiful day. Stay safe, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And we hope to see you in our next video. Love from Dyanne and me. Bye everyone.